There is a huge problem in Black Ops 6 Zombies right now, and really everybody is feeling it. Some people are saying that the weapons are extremely weak, and others are saying that the zombies are way too strong. Some people just say that this game never has a health cap, and it just gets worse and worse. Additionally, people are tired of playing with the GS45 and the jet gun in order to get to high rounds, and really want to be able to play with their own weapons in a higher round and have a viable strat that they feel is necessary. Now, in today's video, I'm going to give my solution to how TREYARCH should fix this problem to allow us to be able to have much more fun. But before I made this video, I kind of gave some of my insights on stream. And so throughout this video, I'm going to kind of play some of my initial live reactions to some of the stuff that I've been testing. And also while I give you some very detailed stats from tests, some different strategies, solutions, some examples and things like that. So this video is gonna be full of stats, analysis, just like always. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe. We're on our road to 10,000 subs now. And with that, guys, let's get right into the video. This is the scaling, bro. The highest that you ever do is 32 times more damage. The highest you'll ever do is 32 times more damage. That's it. It's the most you'll ever do. But what about the zombies? round 1, 125. Round 33, 14,000. This is round 33, 14,000, round 1. Right, that's obviously much more than 31,000, right? Then 30 times 32. 4,000. So our weapons max out at 32 times more damage. Max out at 32 times more damage. But these enemies, fuck, 4,000 is round what? Round 23, 24. Which, when did I fucking fully max out my weapon? Round 23, round 24. And that was also using a fucking gobble gum to get me gold. And also using a fucking perkaholic so we have to spend money on perks. And I still maxed out my weapon by round 25. So by round 25, I've maxed out my weapon. And also, if my weapon damage is 32 times as much, the enemies at that point is 32 times as much. The enemies' health keeps fucking scaling a lot, and it keeps fucking going. Which is fine. Because you should do more damage and you should do more than one shot, right? 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 fucking shots though. And this is only up to around fucking 33. That's all I tested as far as this shit took a long ass time. So as I was saying before, our weapons do feel very weak, and the scaling of the weapons in comparison to the scaling of the zombies don't really match up. Once you get to having your weapon max upgraded, you're right around like round 23, 24, which kind of sucks because then you already know this is the most damage, and the zombie health scaling continues to scale. Not only does their health continue to go up, but the amount of scaling or HP that they get per round continues to increase. For instance, in the first about 10, 11 rounds, the zombie's health is scaling by 50, and then it increases to 125, and then it continues to go on to 625. By the time you're around 23, 24, you're at 625, but the scaling continues going to 1166, and additionally to 1459, and eventually at round 37, it finally caps out at its scaling by 1666, all the way up to the health cap, which is around 55 at 50,000 health points. If you've already maxed out your weapon by around 23, 24, then you know that you still got so much more to play before you even reach round cap, and you know that your weapon isn't going to be viable, especially as those manglers and all the rest of the things start to kind of come into play as well. It makes it really unfun, and it really forces us into one play style. So what can TREYARCH do in order to fix this balance? To be honest with you, the zombies' health in this game are much less than it was actually in Black Ops Cold War. It started off at 150 and it increased by 100 all the way up to round 9, which by the time you got to round 9, the zombies' health was already at about 1050, which is here, which is only at 525. So literally the enemy's health was double by the time you got to round 9, round 10. And then every round after that, it just increased by 10%. Or for some of you guys who like to kind of multiply yourself, you just take whatever that current health is and then multiply it by 1.1 to figure out what that 10% is. In the earlier rounds, the zombies' health is severely reduced, and the health cap is still about the same, right about 50,000 HP at around round 55 to round 50. And so what can TREYARCH do to fix the balancing of the weapons? So that's what I want to get into next. So TREYARCH was to just make the max damage of a weapon fully upgraded and fully pack-a-punch and take it and multiply it by 4. I think this would solve a dramatic problem. Now, obviously, if they just make the weapon scaling much more, there has to be some sort of compromise. There has to be some sort of downsides. And my downside recommendation to that would be ultimately to make it more difficult to reach each different upgrade level. For instance, you would do that by making each upgrade cost more salvage or scrap, and you would make each pack punch level cost more as well. And so in this case, I've kind of got it broken down where uncommon would still cost 500 scrap, rare 2,000, all the way up to legendary, which would cost 7,500 scrap, and then pack a punch level 3 ultimately at 50,000 essence, bring up level 2 and things like that. But in doing this, we would have a much higher max damage. And I know that's probably like, there's no way that would even be balanced in the game. Well, that's exactly what I want to talk about today. So as I said before, if we can take that weapon balance and just make everything the max damage times 4, meaning that you take that max 32 times 4, bringing it up to 128, and then you make everything else kind of fit into it, right? If you pack a punch it should go up times 8. And then if you maybe instead of pack a punching it, you just upgrade it to uncommon, it should go to 4 and scale throughout that. I think that will dramatically solve the problem. And so just to give an example, the XM4, if we were to take it, at base, its crit damage is 111. And so if you took that ideal chart and raised it all the way up, its max would be 14,208 critical damage. So that means if you get a headshot, it'll do 14,208. Body shots, things like that would be all much, much less, obviously because of scaling there. But if we just talk specifically about the most amount of damage that you can do with a base weapon, none of the extra attachments, no perks or anything like that, at base, the most that they could do is 14,208. Right now, the XM4's max damage is 3,552 without any sort of additional upgrades, which is significantly different from 14,208. And so you see here, just the difference between the 3,552 and the 14,208 will make a significant damage change for the XM4 that I think will be very much necessary. And again, we're not talking about any of the headshot bonuses with the CHF barrel attachment or anything like that. Just at base empty weapon. Now, obviously, along with changing up the weapon damage, especially that much, how would this affect the zombies? Because maybe the zombies' health also has to change. Well, I don't believe so. So here's an example of the XM4. If we were to change the weapons to my ideal proposal here, this is what the health would look like. So a regular zombie's health around 1 is 125, all the way up to health cap, which is about 50,000 HP. And I've also got some different markers in here. You can see that with the XM4, if you were to max out the XM4, let's say you were to take in the gobble gum that gives you a legendary weapon, and then also you brought in Perkaholic and didn't need to spend any points on perks or any scrap on upgrading your weapon. All you need to do is just focus on grinding points to max pack it as soon as possible. If you max packed it as soon as possible, green here as you can see, is a one-shot critical kill. You can one-shot critical kill for a pretty long time, up until about round 32 or 33-ish. And then you can see here, yellow is where you get to that and into that 2-hit critical kill range, which like at that point, 2 hits to kill a zombie, that's fine. Right around round 3, you get to the point where the XM4's max damage at that point, 3 shots will bring you to a total of about 42,000 damage at that point. And so with 42,000 damage, it would take 3 shots at round 51. And eventually at max or health cap, it would take you at least 4 or more shots to be able to get that kill on any regular zombie. Now, obviously, this is only just regular zombies. So we're not also talking about the armored zombies, light armored zombies, manglers or any additional bosses or anything from there, just simply regular zombies. And I think that is fair at health cap to do about 4 to 6 shots critical per regular zombie. I think that that's very fair. It at least makes it feel very, very good. Now, Charming, that's not realistic. It's not likely that you would be able to max upgrade your weapon as early as possible, because over the course of the rounds, you have to continue to buy. You have to buy perks. You have to do those things because you're not going to have all those goblin guns. That's very true. And so I have a theoretical round here for you as well. So let's just say theoretically, you're in the game without any sort of goblin guns to assist in your grind, and you get to round 31. Let's say by round 31, you have all perks. You also bought your level 3 armor as well. You've probably got, because of my ideal damage scaling and with the new scrap and the new essence system, let's say that you've gotten to Pack-a-Punch level 2 and you're at epic rarity, which means that you're doing about 48 times more damage. At this point, you probably got about 40,000 essence and about 3,500 scrap. Now, I know that there's like, well, Chum, where'd you get that information from? So just based on my own testing, going in, figuring out exactly how much scrap you would have if you did do that, you have about 3,500 scrap if you did level up to epic. Based on these ideal numbers, you have about 40,000 essence. So you don't have just enough to go ahead and pack to level 3, nor do you have enough to be able to get legendary weapon. So you're comfortably in epic rarity. At this point, though, with all of those pieces added into it, at round 31, a regular zombie's health is 11,250 HP. At that point, if the XM4 is doing 48 times more damage, then it's doing 5,328 damage, which means that at round 31, which means that it's probably taking 3 critical shots to get a kill on an enemy, which at that point, it is a little bit of a challenge. But you know, even though that it's a little bit of a challenge, pretty soon, maybe within the next 2 rounds, that you'll have enough essence to be able to go ahead and get to that level 3 Pack-a-Punch, because you'll need 50,000 essence in order to do that. And you know that you're still going to be continually able to scale because you're still needing an additional 4,000 scrap in order to get to that max upgrade with legendary and grab that as well. So my thing here is, even as the rounds go on, there's going to be a certain point in time where you feel like your weapon's damage is dropping off. But once you finally get just enough scrap or just enough salvage to upgrade, then that upgrade makes you feel extremely powerful for those first few rounds. And that is, I think, is a huge thing that we're actually kind of missing right now in Black Ops 6 Zombies. Because once we upgrade, for the most part, we feel very, like the first 30 rounds feel very balanced, but it's after round 30, 31, where you just feel completely powerless. And so instead of it feeling very perfectly balanced the first 30 rounds, I think that there should be wider requirements in order to reach that next level or that next upgrade, whether it's through the rarity system or through the Pack-a-Punch system. And in doing that, it allows you to start to feel a little bit of a sting, a little bit of stress, push through, especially those experienced or those good zombies players. They'll push through, and then they'll get that upgrade and feel very good and very powerful. That's something that I feel like we're missing in Black Ops 6 Zombies. Well, Charming, it's still not fair because you're talking about only base weapons. What about when you do add Deadshot, or you do add some of those different perks, and you do add the CHF barrel? How would that change the amount of damage? Well, I also have another example here for you too. So let's just go theoretically at health cap at round 55, where the health is 50,000 HP. Let's just say you put on the total amount of buffs that you can in order to buff damage. Now, before I get into talking about the CHF barrel and also the Deadshot bonus with that, I want to just let you guys know that I am currently testing every perk and all of the augments in depth, very much like this video. So if you want to know much more about Deadshot, because Deadshot does not work the way that TREYARCH told us, then make sure you subscribe so that way you get all the information and the notification whenever I upload that video, which should be coming out pretty soon here. But I'm not going to talk about Dead First, because Dead First deal double critical damage if an enemy is at full health does not work at all the way that the description says. And on top of that, when I did do the stats and analytics, it does not work as well as it's going to with Deadhead in this example, whenever I upload the video about Deadshot, it does work much better than Deadhead in this in actual regular example, but this is only for the ideal situation. And they would have to do a dramatic change to Dead first in order to make sure that it also scales and is a viable option as well. So I'm not going to be talking about Dead first, only Deadhead. So let's just say we do get to that round cap of round 55 and we're at that 50,000 HP. Just to kind of break down the buffs really quickly. If you have Deadshot on and you have the Deadhead bonus on, you do not get the base bonus for Deadshot of 11.5% critical increase. You only get the Deadhead bonus, which is 23.23%. Afterwards, if you do have on the CHF barrel, the CHF barrel bonus stacks only after Deadshot does. So you'll get, in the XM4's case, an additional 9.9% on top of that 23%. Long story short, that just means that the maximum amount of critical damage that the XM4 can do is 19,242 when max upgraded, which still puts the round health cap at 3 shots. Is it right around 2.5 shots to take an enemy out? So it'll take a total of 3 shots, 3 critical hits to kill an enemy at round cap, which is very fun as well, because then you know, okay, well, 3 shots per regular enemy. On top of that, there's not that many regular enemies for going in there, and it makes the weapon still feel good and viable, even though you're still gonna have a struggle because you still got the armor to shoot off most of the zombies and also all of the massive amounts of zombies. And it causes for a very good balance to where, you know, just at least in the XM4, which is a very good, well-rounded weapon, that at least your weapons can last up to health cap, especially if you can get through some of those dulls or lulls before you get the chance to finally make another upgrade and another upgrade. And now here's what I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this. What did you learn in this? Did you know that the health cap was around 55 and that the cap was at 50,000? I've got broken down all of the enemies scaling if you guys like to know that as well. If you like to have any of my additional information, I'd love to be able to give you a lot of that information through these videos. Also, my Notion program that I use for all of my stats tracking, you guys will have access to here coming soon once I finish up the final version of this testing of some of this and be able to get that stuff out to you guys. But let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with kind of my ideal scaling system? Do you feel like maybe it should be less, maybe more? Do you feel like they should change the zombies' health balance or health as well? What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear that stuff. And then with that, guys, have a beautiful goddamn day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.